Hello, I'm Claudia Mora, Director of Regional Services with the Alamo Area Council of Governments. On behalf of AACOG, I'm presenting information on various state and federal grants, several for which various counties in the Alamo region are eligible. Throughout this presentation, I'll provide information on each grant purpose, types of projects eligible, grant minimum and maximum amounts, whether there is a match requirement, AACOG eligible counties, and application deadline. At the end of the presentation, there will be a slide with links to the granting agencies, as well as contact information for AACOG staff who can assist with navigating through the various grants and applications. Federal and state grants available. Between May and September, state and federal agencies are accepting grant applications for various projects, including planning, flood control and drainage improvements, infrastructure improvements, economic and community development, training, equipment replacement, and more. Texas General Land Office. The Supplemental Appropriations for Disaster Relief Requirements Act of 2018 made available $28 billion in Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Funds. This is also known as CDBG-DR. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development allocated approximately $4.3 billion in CDBG Mitigation or CDBG MIT funds to the state of Texas. These funds may be used to help counties affected by the 2015 floods, the 2016 floods, or Hurricane Harvey. Governor Greg Abbott designated the Texas General Land Office to administer the CDBG MIT funds. There are 9 CDBG MIT grants administered by the GLO. 1 grant is specific to the 2015 floods. 1 grant is specific to the 2016 floods. 5 grants are specific to Hurricane Harvey. The rest may be used by counties affected by any of the aforementioned weather events. All 9 grants have application deadlines of October 28, 2020. (2015) Flood State Mitigation Competition. This addresses the risks in the 2015 floods in areas designated as most impacted and distressed, or MID, by HUD and the state. These are referred to as HUD MID and State MID. Eligible applicants include units of local governments like cities, counties, and councils of government. Among the eligible projects under this grant are flood control and drainage improvements, including construction or rehabilitation of stormwater management systems, infrastructure improvements such as water and sewer facilities, streets, provision of generators, removal of debris, and bridges, communications infrastructure, public facilities, and economic development. For a complete list of eligible projects, see pages 214 and 215 of the State of Texas Action Plan for CDBG MIT. A link for the plan is provided at the end of the presentation. Entities may coordinate activities and submit a joint project that crosses jurisdictional boundaries. Each application must consist of 1 project. The grant minimum is $3 million. The grant maximum is $10 million. This grant does not require a match. The eligible counties in the Alamo region are Atascosa, Comal, Frio, Gillespie, Guadalupe, Kendall, and Wilson. State Mitigation Competition. The 2016 Floods State Mitigation Competition addresses the risks of the 2016 floods in areas designated HUD MID and State MID. Eligible applicants include units of local governments like cities, counties, and councils of government. Among eligible projects are flood control and drainage improvements, including construction or rehabilitation of stormwater management systems, infrastructure improvements such as water and sewer facilities, streets, provision of generators, removal of debris, and bridges, communications infrastructure, public facilities, and economic development. For a complete list of eligible projects, see pages 221 and 222 of the State of Texas Action Plan for CDBG MIT. Entities may coordinate activities and submit a joint project that crosses jurisdictional boundaries. Each application must consist of 1 project. The grant minimum is $3 million. The grant maximum is $10 million. This grant does not require a match. The eligible county in the Alamo region is Bandera. Hurricane Harvey State Mitigation Competition. The Hurricane Harvey State Mitigation Competition addresses the risks in the areas designated HUD Mid and State Mid. Eligible applicants include units of local governments like cities, counties, and councils of government. In addition, state agencies, special purpose districts, municipal utility districts, water control and improvement districts, special utility districts, flood and drainage districts, navigation districts, and river authorities. Eligible projects include flood control and drainage improvements, including construction or rehabilitation of stormwater management systems, infrastructure improvements such as water and sewer facilities, streets, provision of generators, removal of debris, and bridges, communications infrastructure, public facilities, and economic development. For a complete list of eligible projects, see pages 229 and 230 of the State of Texas Action Plan for CDBG MIT. Each application must consist of one project. The grant minimum is $3 million. The grant maximum is $100 million. This grant does not require a match. The eligible counties in the Alamo region include Comal, Guadalupe, and Karnes. Regional Mitigation Grant Program. The Regional Mitigation Grant Program addresses methods of distribution, also known as MODs, developed by councils of government, also known as COGs, for allocation of funds to local units of government. This program will be administered by the GLO, with local units of governments as subrecipients. Eligible projects include flood control and drainage improvements, including construction or rehabilitation of stormwater management systems, infrastructure improvements such as water and sewer facilities, streets, provision of generators, removal of debris and bridges, communications infrastructure, public facilities, and economic development. For a complete list of eligible projects, see pages 237 and 238 of the State of Texas Action Plan for CDBG MIT. Each application must consist of one project. The grant amount is determined by the local MOD as developed by AACOG. This grant does not require a match. Eligible counties include Comal, Guadalupe, and Karnes. Hazard Mitigation Grant Program Supplemental. The Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, or HMGP, supports cost-effective post-disaster projects like buyouts, relocation assistance and demolition with buyout activities, housing incentives, flood control and drainage improvements, and communications infrastructure. For a complete list of eligible projects, see pages 244 and 245 of the State of Texas Action Plan for CDBG MIT. The GLO will administer the program to HMGP FEMA eligible applicants. Each application must consist of one project. The grant amount is up to $170 million. This grant does not require a match. The eligible counties include Comal, Guadalupe, and Karnes. Housing Oversubscription Supplemental. This grant assists homeowners with houses requiring elevation or storm hardening. The GLO will assist homes located in windstorm areas by ensuring properties meet windstorm building code requirements. This grant program is administered through the GLO. Among the eligible projects under this grant are single-family owner-occupied reconstruction, hazard mitigation, elevation, and relocation assistance. A complete list of eligible projects may be found on page 254 of the State of Texas Action Plan for CDBG MIT. Each application must consist of one project. The grant amount is $35,000. This grant does not require a match. Eligible counties include Comal, Guadalupe, and Karnes. Resilient Home Program. The Resilient Home Program, or RHP, will replace owner-occupied single-family homes damaged by Hurricane Harvey with reconstructed homes that meet additional resiliency and mitigation standards. Eligible projects under this grant include single-family owner-occupied reconstruction, hazard, mitigation, elevation, and relocation assistance. A complete list of eligible projects may be found on page 260 of the State of Texas Action Plan for CDBG MIT. This grant program is administered by the GLO. Each application must consist of one project. The amount of the grant will depend on the project. This grant does not require a match. Eligible counties include Comal, Guadalupe, and Karnes. Hazard mitigation plans. This grant funds the development of local hazard mitigation plans, or LHMP, for eligible areas. For this grant, eligible projects include the development or update of an LHMP, including studies to enhance a community's understanding of risk. Eligible applicants may be the Texas Division of Emergency Management, or TDEM, and FEMA HMGP eligible entities located within CDBG MIT counties. Each application must consist of one project. The amount of the grant is up to $100,000. This grant does not require a match. The eligible counties in the Alamo region include Atascosa, Bandera, Comal, Frio, Gillespie, Guadalupe, Karnes, Kendall, and Wilson. Resilient Communities Program. The Resilient Communities Program assists with the development, adoption, and implementation of modern and resilient building codes and flood damage prevention ordinances. Among the eligible projects under this grant are the development, adoption, and implementation of building codes, flood damage prevention ordinance, zoning ordinance, hazard mitigation plan, comprehensive plan, and land use plans. In addition, public service activities focused on education and outreach to help promote best practices, insurance, and other activities. The grant amount is up to $300,000. This grant does not require a match. The eligible counties in the Alamo region include Atascosa, Bandera, Comal, Frio, Gillespie, Guadalupe, Karnes, Kendall, and Wilson. Regional and state planning. The Regional and State Planning Grant Program funds planning studies and projects that promote sound mitigation practices. Among the eligible projects are planning, urban environmental design and policy planning, management capacity building, activities as listed in 24 CFR 570.205. This grant does not have a minimum or maximum grant amount. A match is not required for this grant. The eligible counties in the Alamo region include Atascosa, Bandera, Comal, Frio, Gillespie, Guadalupe, Karnes, Kendall, and Wilson. Texas Department of Agriculture, Texas Community Development Block Grant Program. The next grants are provided by the Texas Department of Agriculture. These are the grants under the Community Development Block Grant Program for rural Texas, commonly known as Texas CDBG. The primary objective of the Community Development Block Grant Program is to develop viable communities by providing decent housing and suitable living environments and expanding economic opportunities, principally for persons of low to moderate income. Eligible applicants are non-entitlement cities under 50,000 in population and non-entitlement counties that have a non-metropolitan population of under 200,000 and are not eligible for direct CDBG funding from HUD, and they may apply for funding through the Texas CDBG program. Planning and Capacity Building Fund, also known as PCB, funds public facility and housing planning activities. The typical activities or projects include preparation of comprehensive plans, base mapping, land use, housing, population, economic development, tourism, central business district, streets, thoroughfares, water distribution and supply, community facilities, capital improvements, zoning ordinance, and subdivision regulation. Eligible applicants are non-entitlement cities and counties with a need for comprehensive or targeted planning. The grant amount is based on the beneficiary population and will range from $35,000 to $75,000. The match amount also is based on the beneficiary population and will range from 5% to 25%. The eligible counties in the Alamo region include Atascosa, Bandera, Comal, Frio, Gillespie, Guadalupe, Karnes, Kendall, Kerr, McMullen, Medina, and Wilson. The application deadline is September 1st, 2020. Downtown Revitalization and Main Street Programs. The Downtown Revitalization and Main Street Programs provide funding for infrastructure improvements to address the conditions that contribute to deterioration in blighted downtown or Main Street areas. Eligible projects are infrastructure improvements located on public property within the designated downtown district or Main Street area. Main Street areas must be designated as such by the Texas Historical Commission. The grant amount for downtown revitalization projects is $50,000. The grant amount for Main Street projects is $500,000. These grants do not require a match. The eligible counties in the Alamo region include Atascosa, Bandera, Comal, Frio, Gillespie, Guadalupe, Karnes, Kendall, Kerr, McMullen, Medina, and Wilson. The application deadline is September 1st, 2020. Fire Ambulance and Services Truck Fund. The Fire Ambulance and Services Truck Fund, also known as the FAST Fund, provides grants for eligible vehicles to provide emergency response and special services to the rural communities. The grant amounts range from $50,000 to $500,000. This fund does not require a match. The eligible counties in the Alamo region include Atascosa, Bandera, Comal, Frio, Gillespie, Guadalupe, Karnes, Kendall, Kerr, McMullen, Medina, and Wilson. The application deadline for this grant is September 1st, 2020. U.S. Department of Agriculture grants. The next grants are administered by the USDA. Through their Rural Development Program, the USDA is committed to helping improve the economy and quality of life in rural America. Distance Learning and Telemedicine Grant. Through the Distance Learning and Telemedicine Grant, the USDA helps rural communities acquire technology and training necessary to connect education and medical professionals with teachers and medical providers who serve the rural communities. Under this grant program, eligible projects include acquisition of eligible assets, broadband transmission facilities, audio, video, and interaction video equipment, computer hardware, network components, and software. The grant amounts range from $50,000 to $1 million. The match requirement is 15% of the project cost. Eligible counties in the Alamo region include Atascosa, Bandera, Comal, Frio, Gillespie, Guadalupe, Karnes, Kendall, Kerr, McMullen, Medina, and Wilson. The application deadline is July 13th, 2020. Economic Impact Initiative Grant. The Economic Impact Initiative Grant assists with the development of essential community facilities in rural communities with an unemployment rate of greater than 19.5% and a median household income below 90% of the state non-metropolitan median household income. The eligible projects under this grant program include the construction, enlargement, or improvement of facilities for healthcare, public safety, and public service. The grant amount is up to 75% of the project cost. This grant requires a match of 25% of the project cost. Eligible counties include Atascosa, Bandera, Comal, Frio, Gillespie, Guadalupe, Karnes, Kendall, Kerr, Medina, and Wilson. There is no application deadline for this grant. Rural Community Development Initiative Grant. The Rural Community Development Initiative grant programs support housing, community facilities, and community and economic development projects in rural areas. The eligible projects for this grant include training sub-grantees to conduct home ownership education and minority business entrepreneur education, strategic plan development, board training, creating training tools, successful childcare facilities. The grant amount ranges from $50,000 to $250,000. This grant requires a match equal to the grant amount. In-kind services cannot be used as a match. The eligible counties in the Alamo region include Atascosa, Bandera, Comal, Frio, Gillespie, Guadalupe, Karnes, Kendall, Kerr, Medina, and Wilson. There is no application deadline for this grant. Rural Business Development Grant. The Rural Business Development Grant provides funding for technical assistance and training for small rural businesses. For the Rural Business Development Grant, a small business is one that has fewer than 50 new workers and less than $1 million in gross revenue. Included in the eligible projects are acquisition or development of land, construction or renovation, machinery and equipment, rural transportation improvements, economic and community development, feasibility studies, and business plans. The grant amount is equal to 10% of the total funding of the grant program. There is no match requirement. The eligible counties include Atascosa, Bandera, Comal, Frio, Gillespie, Guadalupe, Karnes, Kendall, Kerr, McMullen, Medina, and Wilson. This grant does not have an application deadline. U.S. Department of Commerce Economic Development Administration grants. The Economic Development Administration, or EDA's mission, is to lead the federal economic development agenda by promoting innovation and competitiveness, preparing American regions for growth and success in the worldwide economy. EDA encourages its partners around the country to develop initiatives that advance new ideas and creative approaches to address rapidly evolving economic conditions. For fiscal year 2020, all of EDA's Public Works and Economic Adjustment Assistance Programs funding has been obligated. However, through passage of the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, also known as the CARES Act, EDA has been allocated $1.5 billion for economic development assistance programs to help communities prevent, prepare for, and respond to the COVID-19 pandemic. EDA CARES Act Recovery Assistance is being administered under the authority of the Bureau's Flexible Economic Adjustment Assistance Program. EDA CARES Act Recovery Assistance. EDA CARES Act Recovery Assistance provides a wide range of financial assistance to communities and regions as they respond to and recover from the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. Eligible projects include technical assistance to retain existing and hire new employees, developing and implementing strategies to diversify regional economies, preparing and updating resiliency plans, constructing public works facilities, and deploying broadband. The projects must prevent, prepare for, and respond to the coronavirus. The grant amount is up to 80% of the project cost. The match requirement is 20% of the project cost. The eligible counties in the Alamo region include Atascosa, Bandera, Bexar, Comal, Frio, Gillespie, Guadalupe, Karnes, Kendall, Kerr, McMullen, Medina, and Wilson. There is no application deadline for this grant. AACOG is ready to assist. AACOG can help local entities apply for grant funding. In addition, AACOG provides services related to research, strategic planning, and economic and community development. Links to grants. For more information regarding the grants highlighted in this presentation, please follow the links displayed. If you have questions on any of the grants presented here, please do not hesitate to call 210-918-1284. You may also send an email to grants@acog.com. Also, this presentation can be found on the AACOG website at www.acog.com. Points of contact. If you have questions or concerns, please call Claudia Mora, Director of Regional Services at 210-918-1284. You may also contact Stella Garcia, Senior Director of Operations at 617-362-5252. To email us with questions regarding the grants, please send your email to grants@acog.com. Thank you for your time and attention.